Hi, and thank you for joining me for this video. So this tent has become incredibly popular thanks to its great features and its excellent value for money. So in this video, let's have a good look at this tent so you can decide if this is the right tent for you. Now, when you buy this tent, everything comes in this well-made storage bag. It has a couple of nice grab handles at the top. It does have a nice big center zip, and I have to say that this storage bag is a decent size, so it makes getting your tent out and then back in nice and easy. When it comes to the color of the storage bag, it's the same color as your tent, which is a coyote brown, and I have to say it's a really nice color. Now, when it comes to the size of the storage bag, the length comes in at around 50 centimeters and the width comes in at around 23 centimeters. When it comes to the packed weight of the storage bag, it comes in at around 5.6 kilograms. So it's not light, but then again, you're not going to be using this tent for backpacking. And then finally, on each side of your tent, you do get the OneTigris logos and the name of the tent. Right, let's get everything out this tent so we can see what we get inside. So inside your storage bag, you will get some setup instructions. Everything then comes rolled and tied up with these fabric compression straps. You then get your tent, you get your outer fly, you then get 2 tent poles. One is your main tent pole and one is your spreader pole. They both come in their own storage bag. You'll then get 16 ground pegs that come in their own storage bag, and then you get a footprint. Now, I really like that you get a footprint included in the price of this tent, because quite often you don't get a footprint included. So definitely a nice bonus. Right, let's have a look at how to set this tent up correctly. Now, when it comes to setting up this tent, it really is very easy and there's nothing that's going to catch you out. The first thing you want to do is lay out your footprint and then lay out your tent. You then want to connect your main tent pole together and then connect the corners of your tent pole to each of the corners of your tent. The next thing you want to do is connect your inner tent to your tent poles. The next thing you want to do is connect your spreader pole together and then put it across the top of your tent and connect the ends to each side of your tent. And then finally, all you have to do is take your outer fly, put it over the top of your tent, connect it to your tent, and then go around and peg out and guy out your tent. So let's have a good look at this tent and some of the specs. Now, to start with, let's talk price. Well, currently here in the UK, you can buy this tent direct from Amazon for around £210. It just comes in the one color, which is this coyote brown. The tent itself is classed as a 3-season tent. Now with this tent, it is an inner pitch first tent. And I know for some people, it might be a bit of a deal breaker because they'll say, well, do you know what? If it's raining while I'm starting to set this tent up, there is a risk of the inner tent getting wet. And unfortunately, that is a factor. However, on the flip side of that, in the warmer times of the year, when you know it's not going to rain, you can set this tent up without the outer fly, and you can enjoy a really nice camp in your tent with all that mesh around you. It's going to give you a nice bit of airflow, but it's also going to help keep any of those insects out. Now, when it comes to this tent, it is a semi-freestanding tent, and I say that because you do have to peg out the doors. However, before you peg out the doors, when you've set this tent up, you can lift it up and you can move it around. Now, what I really like with this tent, it has 2 outer doors, it has 2 vestibules and 2 inner doors. So whatever I show you this side of the tent is exactly the same on the other side of the tent. This tent also comes with 2 roof vents, one each side. Now, in those vents, there is a little bit of mesh. So if an insect did fly into those roof vents, those insects aren't going to get into your tent. Now with this tent, it is classed as a 4-person tent, but we will have a good look inside and see if it is actually a 4-person tent. Now, when it comes to the outer door panels on this tent, you can simply roll and toggle one back, or you can roll and toggle both of them back, giving you a nice big entrance. Now with this tent, remember what I show you this side is exactly the same on the other. Now you do get 2 vestibules on this tent, but I have to say they're not the biggest of vestibules. But then again, any vestibule, as I say, is better than no vestibule, but you could use it for a little bit of storage. Now on the vestibules, the zips on the vestibules are YNS zips, which aren't bad zips, but it would have been better if OneTigris had put on the YKK zips. The YKK zips are much smoother and they are anti-snag zips, but the YNS zips that are on this tent are fine. Now the zips are all covered with a storm flap to protect the zips. Now when it comes to the outer fabric of this tent, the outer fabric is made from a 210T taffeta, and it has a hydrostatic head rating of 2000 millimeters. All the stitching on the outer fly is double stitched and it's tape sealed, so it's completely waterproof. When it comes to the inner tent, it is predominantly mesh. Now this mesh is going to give you max airflow, which in turn will help reduce condensation, but it'll also keep any insects out. When it comes to the bathtub style floor, it's a nice size bathtub style floor. It comes nice and high in the corners here, and that helps prevent any splashback. Now with the bathtub style floor, it's made from a 210 denier Oxford fabric, and it has a hydrostatic head rating of 5000 millimeters. The bathtub floor is also double stitched and tape sealed, so completely waterproof. But also don't forget, you do get that added protection with the footprint that you get with this tent. Now when it comes to the inner door, it can just simply be unzipped, rolled and toggled all the way back, or there is a little pocket on each of the corners of the inner doors where you can just stuff the inner door. Now the zips on the inner door are also made by YNS. Now having a good look inside this tent, it's not a bad size. The length comes in at 2.4 meters, the width comes in at 2.1 meter, and then the internal height of the tent is 1.5 meters. Now when it comes to internal storage, you've got plenty of that. In each of the corners you've got these little pockets, as you can see, one in each of the corners, but then you've also got 2 much bigger storage pockets. You've got one on one side of the ceiling and one on the other. You've then got 5 of these hooks, one on the ceiling and one in each corner of the tent. So you can use these to hang a lamp on or whatever you want really. Now when it comes to the size of this tent, I would say for 4 people it's going to be a squeeze, but for 3, 2 or 1 person it's going to work much better. Right, let me give you my impressions of this tent. Well, first of all, the design of this tent. I really like the design of this tent, in particular all the mesh on the inside of the tent. With all this mesh, it's going to give you great airflow, which in turn will help reduce any condensation, but also keep all those insects out. I particularly like the outer fly, how it pulls away from the inner tent, because if you do get a little bit of condensation, it will simply just run off and it won't drip straight onto you. Now when it comes to the build quality of this tent, I have to say everything on this tent has been made really well. In particular the fabrics, all the stitching is excellent, and there are no loose threads. Now when it comes to the performance of this tent, whether it be in the warm weather, the wind or the rain, this tent performs really well. Now I have to be honest, I haven't tested this tent fully, but I know several people who have, and I've also seen other videos where people have really put this tent to the test and they've all said it has performed really well. It performs really well in the warmer months, obviously because you've got all this mesh. But when it comes to the wind, a couple of people have said they've tried this tent out or tested it, in 35 mile per hour winds, and it performed really well. So as I always say, most people are not going to be camping in more than say 25 mile per hour winds. So the fact is this can withstand 35 mile per hour winds. Absolutely perfect. Now when it comes to the waterproofing, when it rains, I haven't seen one review, or I haven't spoken to anyone who has said that they've had any issues with water leaking inside this tent. Now when it comes to the size of this tent, I have to be honest, although it's classed as a 4-person tent, I would have to say with 4 people in this tent with their gear, it would definitely be a squeeze. But for 3 people in their gear, I think it would work very well. For 2 people in their gear, I think it's excellent. And for 1 person, well, hey, what a luxury. Now, when it comes to the setup of this tent, it is straightforward. And as I said, there's nothing difficult about setting up this tent. Now, I have shown you how I set up the tent, but don't forget, if you've got a way of setting up the tent that you prefer, then that's absolutely fine. Now, one thing I do like about this tent, the way that it is staked out, when the outer fly does get wet, because it's staked out really well, the outer fly doesn't snag. Now a word on the zips. Again, I did mention that on this tent they use the YNS zips, and they're absolutely fine. Some people feel they're not as smooth, or sometimes they feel they can get a bit stuck. I personally haven't had any problems with these YNS zips. It's a bit of a shame because OneTigris normally put the YKK zips on their tents, and they are smooth zips and they are anti-snag zips. But listen, as I say, I've had no issues with these zips, and I think you just need to take your time opening the tent. I often watch a video with people opening their tents, and you know, they open the tent so quickly, and you know, you're bound to get a zip jam or snag, or even catch on some fabric. So yeah, I think if you just take your time, the zips are absolutely fine. And then finally, the value of this tent. I think for this tent, with everything you get for the price you're paying of £210, I think it's excellent. I think it's great value for money. And if you're looking for a 3-season tent, I would definitely have a look at this tent. The reviews are excellent on this tent. I haven't read a review, or I haven't spoken to anyone, or I haven't watched a video where someone has said a bad thing about this tent. So yeah, definitely have a good look at this tent. I will put a link in the description for you so you can go and have a look at this tent in more detail. But listen, you tell me what you think about this tent. Is this a tent that you think's going to suit you, or perhaps you've got a different tent in mind? Let me know in the comments. And at the same time, if you leave in a comment, if you've enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. And lastly, don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you can be notified every time I upload a new video. But until next time, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.